All right, let's see this. We got to do a breakdown of what price did over the last probably 16 hours. Yeah, 16 hours. So we got to look at almost 24 hours, actually. Yeah, probably 20 hours. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of break down what we're seeing, how we're seeing it. And this right here was yesterday's close. And this is of particular import. And I think what we're going to do is I'm going to change the color of this line to yellow, to green. I guess no, I don't want that. Let's change it. Let's do yellow. And then we're going to slim it down. And then we're going to repeat it right here. It might make it a little bit hard to see some shit, but we're gonna roll like this, and I want to kind of break down how I saw this market, how I traded Asia last night, and then kind of what happened today, and why this zone right here. And to be fair, this zone is a little bit bigger than what I've marked here, but we're gonna break this down because I had basically an A+ trade set up in here that I want to go over. And then just to kind of like talk for a second about how these levels are drawn. It's really basic. It's really basic. It's just swing lows, higher low, or higher high, higher low, higher high, and then we broke this out. So that's this level, and then we also broke this out, and that's that level. So we're really curious about what's going to happen in here going forward. Usually this would be a blue line, but whatever. That's enough talking about all this. So we're gonna so yeah, let's do it. Let's zoom in and see what happened here today. So let's first, I'm going to bring over the 5,000 tick chart because this is particularly interesting. And this shows what was going on yesterday at during Asia. So when we look at, yeah, and this chart's a little crazy to read, but it's a 5,000 tick. Since Monday's open or Monday's RTH low, we ripped 1,700 points. Yesterday at the close, it was probably somebody's earnings or something. We saw this quick sell-off and we came down and we put in this low right here. Then going into the close, we just saw chop and we saw an acceptance of this area right here. Then we saw with the open at 5 p.m. Central, we saw acceptance of higher prices. And we look at this and we see higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, etc., all the way up through here. And then we saw this breakdown. And I know a lot of people got stuck on this short, but I was looking for longs here. Last night in Asia, I was trading sim. But I also got like a little tilty trading. So like my sizing's off. We're going to kind of go into the sizing here in a second. Maybe. I mean, we don't really have to go over. We don't really have to go over it all, but I think the philosophy of why I saw this as a bottom and why I was taking longs is more important than like going into my trades. And I'll show you what this was. So when we come over here, this is the period that we're looking at right here. And so here's a footprint chart, and this is on 125,000 volumetric. And so what we're looking at here is, I mean, we don't need this. We don't need the zigzag on anymore. Yeah, whatever. This is that drawing that I just threw on the on that hourly chart. But all right, so what we saw was that we saw the sell-off at the close, the acceptance of value right here. Then we saw a brief distribution setup, and then this candle stopped, and it started once the Globex opened. We saw the Globex sell off and come down and test the bottom side of this distribution, but the price acceptance was higher. And then the price acceptance here was higher, and this is a pretty clean distribution right here. And so what I was looking for was, I was looking for longs through all of that because I was expecting basically this volume right here to hold. That's what I was looking for. So until we were able to establish selling volume, like meaningful volume down in this area, down in like the taper here, I wasn't going to be taking shorts. And conversely, what we were doing was we were building here. So when we look at the actual trades that I took during that time, let's get into it. When we look at that, and like I said, it was a little tilty for sure. It was tilty. I was sizing up too much, and so today while I was trading, I was making sure that I kept size in check, not going over five micros. So super tight trades through all of this, but I was only looking for longs in it, right? So when we're I wasn't going to short anything, didn't care. When you look at these entries, right? You look at these entries, all these entries are like right in the zone right here. So I'm entering into this point of control. I'm entering into this point of control. I'm looking for that volume to support, which we did. But then I signed off because my mental capital was gone. But you can see like the sizing was fucking stupid, right? Then to continue the narrative, we had a run up. We're starting to see this volume stack, right? So we had key level here. There's some other more historic levels. Might as well get into it. There's some other more historic levels I was looking at. So when we draw the volume profile for whatever, the last part of this area before we broke down, we had large price acceptance kind of like throughout this whole area. We could say that there's like low volume nodes within this, but for the most part, we're looking at this and this, and I had this marked out as a warm butter zone, and I had marked this out as a warm butter zone. So this entire run up, I've been long and consistently long since Monday morning. I think I only shorted twice since Monday morning, and both of those shorts I made like $16 on or some shit like that. I've been watching this kind of inflection point today. This was something on my radar. This has been something on my radar. We did take out this level right here, so whatever, but I guess we didn't close above it. It doesn't matter, who cares? All right, and then we have, yeah, today was tough though. Today was tough, I'm not gonna lie. It was not an easy day for me to navigate by any means. So, but I had an A+ setup in it today, and that's kind of what I wanna break down. So we had a pretty clean distribution getting formed here. Then we broke out of the overnight. Then we came down and we accepted this price again. Then we started accepting price higher. We started building this kind of like slab of volume in this area. Basically this. Broke up higher. This showed to me that, price wanted to migrate higher, which it did. And we had all this volume up here. And this is kind of B-shaped volume. But these sell-offs had tapers. And these tapers, especially this one, were showing me that, you know, there weren't any bears on here. You know, we pushed down this on this at the open, right? Essentially, and the, you know, this candle starts at 8:51 Central. We pushed down into this overnight volume, and this was like an attempt on the part of the bears to be able to win. And they didn't, and we pushed back up. And then on this next distribution, we went back down, and you can just see that there's no two-sided tape here. There's just nobody's selling. It's just done, and we end up pushing up, except volume up here, and then we establish this little volume node right here. And this little volume node to me is showing me that the bears or the bulls didn't have it. Right, so this is a key spot to look at later, and we'll see this on the 500 tick here shortly. And then we sold off, and we did fill this in, and price did get and price was interested in moving lower, so we did move lower. Put in another nice distribution right here, nice distribution right here, nice distribution right here. All of these are tapering up to this blue line, which is kind of like a low volume node slash support, or not support, but structure break line. So this is interesting. You see a lot of buying up at the top of this, didn't hold. And then we see this over here, and this is my A+ setup. So let's get to the trades. I did not have an awesome day today. I found today to be really, really, really complicated. So I don't trade until the initial balance is formed. And when we look at this, yep, all right, here we go. So we sold off here. We sold off here. And this low on the 500 tick is inside this box from that overnight session, which I was looking for buys in. And so that's why I'm taking hits here. I got in here, which was a small, you know, I got in long down here on the structure break, bullish on the 500 tick. I had weak hands, couldn't hold it, and got a couple of longs off. Tried to get back in up here, took the hit, took the hit, took the hit, and this hit in particular was this was a pretty big hit. I think I was long. Was I long 3 or 5? It looks like I was only long 3. That's probably $150 hit. No, not quite 150, but it's close. You know, this is a big hit. This is a big hit. Let me come down here. Finally catch this buy. So what made this buy a buy? I'm still looking at this area. I'm still looking at this volume as supportive. I'm still hoping it's going to support. And when I got in here, because we're on this here, we saw I saw the volume build right here, and I thought to myself, this was the bears' fight to lose, and they lost, and I ended up getting in right, you know, at the top of that volume build. Got a nice trade. I think I was close to break even on the day, but these losses were serious, right? I think it was like $600 down at this point. $500-600. We'll look at the P&L in a second. Then we sold off, but then we ripped up, and then as you can see here, this was a big volume build, right? This is this distribution right here. And I think we're going to support and keep going higher because I have the bias of the last few days. This was a big loss. Yeah, this is when I probably hit my max loss on the day. Not my max loss, but I hit my biggest drawdown. So I hit this, hit this, hit this. Then I saw the taper. Taper took out the overnight low, and I was like, there's no sellers down here. There's nobody's looking to short this thing. So we got the structure break, and I put on a really, really nice series of longs here. I mean, I was just all over this move. So, what is this? 91, 30 points, right? So I got, a couple of 25, 30 pointers, another 30 pointer, a couple of $20 winners, $10 winners, whatever. And sure enough, I got long again and lose on 5. But now this is the key spot right here. This is the A+ trade setup. So before this volume went in, we had here's a picture. We had this. So this was my long, right? This is all good. Making the money on it. Long 2, prices up here. I've got a couple of trailing, but we have this taper. We have this taper. This is showing me that there are no bears to be seen. There's no acceptance of price down here. Nobody wants to short it down here, and we're going higher, and we're building this volume right here. When we look at the same profile as this guy right here, as it is this guy right here, we actually did start building in the volume right here. And this volume was inside the wick. This wick, and then the wick that was here before this volume formed in. And so I started thinking to myself, oh shit, yeah, this is an A+ trade for me, because we have this distribution right here. And then we started filling in the wicks to the downside. And there are other charts that I have that kind of show what this is, and etc. And then we started coming up here, and I was like, yeah, this is short. This is short. I feel okay shorting the bottom. So shorted it. We came down. We're down in this area right here. And let's see what the volumetric looks like right then. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay, this is what it was. So we caught that long move from here up to here. And then I was watching this volume right here to see if this would support, and sure enough it did. And so I was saying to myself, this is the bottom part of this range. And then we came up here and we put in this volume here, and I started thinking, all right, this is going to be the top of this range. So I was trying to trade back and forth into this. So that's why I'm taking off. That's why I'm taking off here, I'm taking off close to here. That's why I'm kind of buying down in like this halfway point. It was on this candle right here where I was like, man, I don't like the way that this volume is building. And then half of this volumetric right here, when we started putting this in, I was like, man, I'm not really feeling where this is going. And then we put in more volume, and then I got the stop. And I thought to myself, this area up here, so that 820, this area up here is probably going to be the shortable level, short up to that. And that's why, I didn't get stopped here. My stop probably would have been up around here at least. And took it. Got out down there. So that's kind of like the wrap up of the day. So what was it? It was this. It was that we had we had this level from the overnight. This was where the Bears could have won, but they didn't. And then, sure enough, we established value above it here, and then inside it here, and then we ended up starting to fail. And it was here. That's kind of like my A plus setup. So probably not the clearest rundown in the world, but that's kind of how I saw the market today. Um, and my P&L is not great, but it's green. Right? Took the hit. This is, yeah, I took the hit. Win rate is 60%. Um, it is what it is. That's how this played.